Segment 2, Gold and Black Live, joined by Ken Halpin, who has been a frequent one in his 3 years. I think this is his third appearance on the show. I say 3 years. You came to Purdue in 2021, correct? But it's now that you're a seasoned, grizzled veteran of the West Lafayette community, welcome to Gold and Black Live, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thank you. I always love getting a chance to talk to you, Alan.
Well, you get a chance. Your day job is a busy one. There's things coming at you all the time. Obviously, you'll be in Lincoln tomorrow for the big showdown for the Boilermakers in Nebraska. Talk about, just from a team dynamic standpoint, this is a team that Ryan Walters is a new coach and has had ups and downs, as one would expect in year one. But talk about where you see this, from where this football team is right now, and how you see its development since Ryan Walters joined us about a little over 10 months ago.
Yeah, no, nothing I can say is going to be anything new that your viewers haven't heard before. And obviously, when Mike hired Ryan, the things that Mike said at the podium when he introduced Ryan, the things that you've heard a lot of other folks say, have been unbelievably consistent. Ryan himself is incredibly high intellect, knows who he is. And so because of that, he wins people around him, and he surrounds himself by really, really good people. So throughout the department, their staff has been a genuine pleasure to work with. And in the place you can really tell is our student athletes have responded so positively, and literally everybody associated with the football team. I know you'll probably talk to Tiffany as well in one of these. I mean, she spends literally every single day with football and sees it in day out, every single second. Same thing, just incredible people to work with who have incredibly lofty goals and are building something for the long haul. So from my perspective and my experience, what I see is, in Ryan and his staff, are long-term oriented decision-making. So I have not seen or experienced moments where they make a short-term benefit decision at the expense of long-term gain. That there is a real, genuine, long-term building in that program. And then the other thing that I enjoy seeing, and obviously we spend a lot of time, sometimes in the department, we still read the headlines just like all of our fans do. The credibility and the rankings from a recruitment standpoint, and the teams that Coach Walters and his staff have been going up against in recruiting, and some of the battles that we've been winning in recruiting. I don't know that Purdue's been described in the likes of some of those teams ever. So the ambitious nature with which they are recruiting is also something that we're really excited about.
Yeah, it comes down to, you got to have talent. The Jimmies and Joes are important, and so far so good for Ryan Walters. At least on 3, a top 25 ranked class, which is like you said, Ken, has not always been the norm at Purdue, and that's not a criticism. That's just been the reality over the years of where recruiting has been. All right, external relations and everything moving outward is kind of a big part of your role. Yep. It is an interesting time in college athletics. You've seen it from a number of different angles, and yet, you've got the NIL thrown at you, transfer portal, conference realignment, the back end of COVID. What else can you deal with? What have you learned in the last couple of years in terms of how you deal with that, and from a day to day, keeping your focus on what you need to get done?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you frame the question as what have I learned, it's more what has proven to be exactly as it was portrayed to me it would be when I got here to Purdue. And that is, the primary foundational stake in everything is how committed Purdue people are to Purdue, rain or shine, thick or thin. So, in the world of our fan-facing external universe, we have so many different revenue streams. So as one example is our multimedia rights partnership with Learfield. So that's the sponsorships. Purdue has been the highest performing property in the entire country across all of college athletics in our recovery financially post-COVID from a sponsorship and multimedia rights standpoint. We just went through our coaching staff change, and last season, so what would have been Coach Brum's final season at Purdue, we set a Ross-Ade football ticket season revenue record. So exiting that season, we set our budget this season to be that record plus a little bit more. And we have blown that, not only our budget, but that record completely out of the water with football revenue this year. So our football revenue has been high. Our fans have been showing up, and obviously everybody wants our record to be better. Nobody more so than our staff, but our fans have showed up day in and day out and have continued to show up. Our games keep selling well, so our revenue has been performing. And then obviously, in men's basketball, when you've gone so many years never missing a sellout, how to hit your revenue numbers and keep taking steps forward without doing too many drastic steps that drive your loyal people away is complicated. But we've done it again. We sold out all of our games in Mackey on the men's side at record pace, and we've once again set revenue records there. But now the beautiful part about Mackey is the sales on our women's side is starting to reflect all the work that Coach Gerald has been putting in. And she's got the first recruiting class she really started diving into when she took the reins, our freshman this year. And so the trajectory of our women's basketball program is spectacular right now, and it's reflecting in our revenue numbers. So from a fan experience standpoint, our numbers are really positive, and that's a testament to what Purdue is as defined by our fans and our people, our alums, our John Purdue Club donors, our Greater Lafayette residents, and people who support the Motion P. I mean, they're as loyal and as it gets, and as passionate as it gets.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Chris Pelliot, I think, next week on this show, but to talk about fan experience, growing up a Cubs fan, I guess, and enjoying places like Wrigley Field and venues. We start to think of Mackey Arena is the Wrigley Field of the, maybe not as old, there's no ivy growing, but it is a venue now that people all around the country want to see. If they're driving by West Lafayette, they may want to be the.
For anybody watching this today, when you have your conversation with Chris, that's when I would really encourage everyone to tune into, because we've spent this off season really investing in the experience at Mackey and taking seriously protecting what it is as a classic Indiana basketball gym, but enhancing some of the experiences, like even this, and it sounds silly, but the sound system improvement is going to be noticeable for our regulars. There are a few other bells and whistles we've got just to really brighten up what is the greatest basketball arena in the country.
The tunnel is new, and we'll save that for Chris as well, because he'll be able to expand and expound on what all that is. All right. When you look at men's basketball, and again, look at coaching and coaching dynamics, I mean, the challenge of this team is, obviously we've known about its regular season exploits and achievements, and yet and Matt Painter's as mature and focused as a guy as you're ever going to find as a head basketball coach. But there's still that challenge. The last 3 years haven't gone like you'd like. Maybe in the NCAA tournament. But what's when you look at that and say that approach of saying, well, we know we can do this in the regular season. How do you see this team keeping its focus on the prize, so to speak, which is doing well in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I came across a concept recently that I thought in a book that really spells out, I think, a framework that can answer your question. And that is, in any competitive environment, people often talk about the analogy of raising the bar. How do you raise the bar? Working to raise the bar. And raising the bar, in a sense, means how do you arm yourself so that your best performance ever is the highest it can be. And I would describe, this is just my words, I would describe the Matt Painter coached program that now has been established for so many years as a program that focuses more on raising the floor. And so what I mean by that is, as opposed to every single day wondering what's the highest reach is going to be, raising the floor is like, what can you count on is going to be here every single day, no matter what. So that on your good days, that's when the bar comes into play. But on your bad days, because we all have bad days, on your bad days, where are you at? And when your floor is above everyone else's, that means that even on your worst days, you're the best team in the country. And I think that's exactly what we have this year. I would say last year, what we watched and we as Purdue fans got really used to is a team that achieved at its highest almost every day. And so if they showed up one day and they weren't quite at their highest and they needed to lean on something else, we got spoiled and we thought, what the heck is going on? This team we're bringing back so much productivity on the floor that's now a year older. We've got 2 freshmen that everybody is so familiar with now that have built the endurance that it takes to play an entire collegiate season. This team bonded together in Europe in some great life learning and basketball experiences, and it's reflected in it. You can't sell or build a house off of preseason AP rankings, but the preseason AP rankings reflect everything that's coming into the season. So, in getting to be a part of it and see it and watch them at practice, the way that the guys meld together, the type of effort that's being put in, we just have such an incredible special team this year, and it is built solid. And I'm excited for everyone, including our staff, to get a chance to see it this year.
Yeah, starts tomorrow in Arkansas, where the Boilermakers will be an exhibition, which is kind of you don't want to put games. I mean, it's just funny how things are. This is a great matchup. I mean, you got 14th ranked Arkansas preseason, Purdue where it's ranked, and yet it's an exhibition. Talk about just that and the fact that, maybe the flexibility of college, and this is an important, I think the money, a lot of the money is going for the Maui, not renovation, but all the difficulty that's gone on there. But talk about this, being flexible and creating events like this that become important things. You have fan days, you've got all the other types of things that the rank and file fans can feel like they have to participate in, and end up really becoming important events.
Yeah, well, to Arkansas's credit, it's a bye weekend for the football team. So
yeah,
I just got a report this morning. They've sold over 17,000 tickets to this exhibition charity game.
Yeah.
And so what's great about that is it truly is utilizing our combined brands to a great cause to make other people's lives better. And you can never, ever, ever lose sight of how important that is in life. But then also, you think last year, our younger players got to go through what it's like to see a rabid environment where you're not who they're cheering for. And so now you've got new faces like Miles Colvin, who gets a chance before the season has even started to really see what it's like to go on the road and to play against a top 25 team whose fan base is passionate and wants to see you lose, and he gets a taste of it. But also our other guys get to jump right back into where it was, and you have that. You hope to have what you might feel during Big Ten play in the preseason, because granted, we'll go over to Maui, we'll play Gonzaga, and then either Tennessee or Syracuse. And if the cards align, there's a chance that Purdue and Kansas could play this year, but it's not going to be in front of one of our home crowds. And so it'll be an unbelievable matchup, but just a different environment. And so for the guys to play, get to feel the true road game environment, because to be the best in the country, you got to win on the road. And that's one thing Matt Painter teams have always done really, really well. And I think this Matt Painter team is really, really built to do at a strong level. And obviously, Zach's a big reason why, but he's not the only reason why.
Yeah. October the 28th, and it's a marquee game. It's crazy in terms of that. And it's an exhibition game. I think Purdue, my only caution to Purdue fans is, it's an exhibition game. And I'm going to guess that Matt Painter will do some things in that game that will show it's an exhibition game. In other words, from a rotation standpoint, he's tends to look at the big picture, and it isn't all won and lost by 6 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday from that standpoint. But it will be fun to see Purdue unveil a team that Purdue fans have become very, very familiar with. One last question on a campaign that you're involved with and the department's involved with, Forging Our Future. And we've talked about this, having Tim House on here a couple shows ago, and really Matt Painter's role in terms of working with Chad Q. Brown and Profile, and the ability and the desire to build teams and build good fits using data. There's more to this campaign than that, but talk about that and just team development, and maybe throughout the department now that's going to be a big part of your other 17 Division I teams that are going to be a big part of this type of profile.
Yeah, I mean, as we ended last year, and really it starts with Mike Babinski, and coming to our senior staff and our group of sport administrators and really talking about, you know, in everything we do at Purdue in the athletic department, like we're keeping score, like we keep score for a reason. We're here to win. And if there is anything in the way of us being successful on the field and in life, but in addition on the field, we as administrators have a responsibility to remove those barriers and to provide the resources so that our student athletes are in a position to win every day. And this started as a campaign, and he talked to our team about it and asked Tim, to do it right. We're going to need money, so we need you guys in the John Purdue Club to build a campaign around it. And so where it started was, you look at our facilities, we really do have beautiful facilities across the board. We're not just a football facility or just a basketball facility. We've got a beautiful pool, incredible baseball, softball venues, beautiful. I mean, our soccer pitch is often picked as the favorite across the Big Ten. We've just got so many great facilities. We've got incredible people. What are the other things that we can really invest in? And so the first line of defense has been, in the department, it's not a secret. The men's basketball has utilized Profile as a personality evaluation tool, but it's so much more than that. And it's been customized in the way that our basketball program works with Profile to really build out exactly what it means to know everyone you're working with all the time, every day, and to know how to evaluate not just who you have, but to evaluate who you let in and who you don't let in, to protect to keep a pristine nature around your culture. And so, from there, and I know Tim's told the story many times, wrestling, Coach Ursuline started taking advantage of it and saw immediate impact. And so that's just the first step of taking Profile throughout all of our teams. But then the next step is, what are the peripheral elements that are going to be so important to either providing a resource or removing a barrier for student athletes to be successful. And so some of that, a lot of the areas that TIF oversees as far as student athlete support, athletic training, strength and conditioning, all of those units, nutrition is a huge one. All those units are building into what is it that's going to really help us take that next step from a competitive excellence standpoint.
Yeah, we will put a link to our interview with Chad Brown, which we did, I think, early on, or the first show of the year. Really interesting. I'm fascinated by it. Using building culture is an important thing in anything you do, and that certainly is something in Purdue is, and certainly men's basketball has had that culture, and throughout most of Purdue's teams, it's a focus of getting that done. So,
Ken, the word culture, I just have to throw it out there. Like, building culture becomes a buzzword sometimes, and in working with Chad and Profile, one of the things we've been able to define is remembering every team and every program has culture. It's as to whether or not you have good culture or bad culture, and whether or not you're intentional about your culture. And Coach Painter around here is famous for having a very intentionally designed culture. This gives us a language with which we can use to help the rest of our staff build exactly what they want it to look like. So sorry, you got me.
No, that's it. It's an important distinction, and something that these aren't just tests that you want to give student athletes. You want to give this to build something that's going to ultimately impact wins and losses on the courts and playing fields and in the pools. So
absolutely,
Oh, hey, thank you so much for your time, as always. We always appreciate your insight, and we'll look forward. Good luck, safe travels to Lincoln, and we'll look forward to seeing you, I'm sure, in Ross-Ade Stadium. We'll be back at home for 2 weeks, I guess that's right, November 11th for football, when the Boilermakers take on Minnesota. So thanks again, Ken. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Brian Newbert, who will be in Arkansas for the matchup, the exhibition matchup on Saturday against Arkansas. We'll be back with him in 2 minutes on Golden Black Live.